So, hello everybody. Obviously, if you're watching on replay, hello. I'm sure you know me already, but if you've just joined the group, my name's Hayley, and we've got the lovely Ross on. And what I try to do with this group is invite guests on from, different professions within the health and wellness space to talk about different things. Like we had a lady on talking about grief, and obviously she answered people's questions. And I just think it's good for people to kind of come on, listen, learn some tips and tools, and also for people to come on and share their stories, because it may just be that one person really relates and goes, oh, that sounds exactly what happened to me. But I'm not at that end yet. And then they listen to someone that says, I got over it. And then it gives them that little bit of like hope. And I think we all need a little bit of hope, don't we? And tonight is a little bit random because I normally do it at the end of the month. But I met Ross only on Tuesday. We spoke a bit, and it's just been great to talk to you. And I just thought, wow, it would be amazing if obviously you like I said it would be amazing if you came on and kind of had a chat to the community. Um, so I'll not waffle too much. I'll start by giving a little introduction to Ross, and then we'll kind of head over and we'll just have a general chat. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them in. And also at the end, you've got some little like task challenges to do as well, haven't you, that we're going to get people to do or take away and do as well. Yeah. And before I read this, I'm just going to say how amazing is Ross's like screen in his background.
Oh, you joke, right?
I'll just spot him, right?
Do you know what? Right, the thing is, like, when we said, well, Haley, when you said to us, would you come and do a live? And I was like, oh yeah, yeah, of course I will, yeah. And I was thinking, and like I sit here, this is where I sit, this is where I work, this is where I'm at, and just in me sitting room, and I thought this is the perfect space to be in,
Yes.
having this conversation. So I thought, right here, right now, because sometimes I can sit on the settee or wherever. But yeah, thank you for the scene. That looks nice in the background. I appreciate
it does. And I've just said, can you come and do mine? So I definitely want that colour. It's beautiful. But people are logging in now to watch. So Stacey said, hi, lovely. Hi, Stacey Hon. Right, so well, let's get started then. So I wrote it down only because it's been such last minute and I haven't like rehearsed it properly in my head. So in the title, obviously, I had advertised Ross as being a freedom mentor in life and business. Today, he's going to talk about his story, about how he's overcome things in his life, trauma, conditioning, limiting beliefs, and he's going to explain basically his journey with that, and how he came to accept. Sorry, I'm talking like you're not here. And how he came to accept himself and how that kind of changed everything. And even when I met you, when I was speaking to you, you can just tell somebody who's so comfortable in their own skin, and they just ooze that energy. And I think when we get to that level, then we can make clearer choices, we can make better decisions in our life and in our business. And that's why I just thought, oh, it would be amazing to get you on. So I don't know where you feel intuitively. I don't know where you feel like you want to start, if you want to just go in with the beginning or where you are now, or
First of all, I want to say that this path of truth that I'm walking on, and this journey of self-discovery, and being able to share me truth, to be able to share who I am, and for people to take the time to even listen is an absolute honor and a privilege. So if I can share my truth and be authentically myself, and I'm getting this space to be able to do it, it's an honor, and other people can get to do this too, because the feeling of complete freedom, and I mean completely free, is a feeling that I didn't even know existed a year ago. And that's the truth,
yeah,
and fully knowing where I feel right now. And when I met you on Tuesday at that networking event, and
yeah,
never have went there before, and just walking through and just being, it was a vibe. But that's the first time I've been in an environment, in a networking environment like that, where this version of me, this unapologetic version of who I am, warts and all, not that I've got any warts, but is me. And I'm fully sovereign. And Yeah, so that's what I
Mhm.
want to say is it's an honor to be able to be sitting here tonight for you to be
Mhm.
offering this space, and for me, if I can help anybody in any way just by me sharing my truth,
Mhm.
then that's the job done, you know.
Yeah.
Mm,
No, that's amazing. Obviously, thank you so much.
no probs.
And like I said to Ross before, if I keep looking down, it's just because I'm checking to see if there's any comments. I've got a few people like kind of tuned in and watching, so that's good.
Mhm.
So is it worth telling us like what was the Ross that showed up previously? Like what was the yeah, what was it? What would you say you were like in that kind of trapped? I don't know how to explain.
So the right. So I'm 41, okay, and I've been on a spiritual path, really. I've probably been a spiritual way
Uh-huh.
for probably about 14 years now, something like that. Like, what happened was my sister um, had read the book The Secret.
Hmm.
I'd seen the difference in her. That sparked it. Then it went on, years past, I ended up doing a few little law of attraction events, but really, not really, excuse me, feeling and embodying who I am. And what happened was lockdown obviously happened, and my job was I was running um, government funded contracts for businesses within economic support. That's that in economic development. That's what I'd done, and I knew that the world had changed. Interestingly, what happened was just before lockdown, probably about 4 months before lockdown, I'd put a paper together to discuss where the world would be in 20 years' time, roughly, you know, with the digitalization and artificial intelligence and all that. Anyway, put that forward and before lockdown, and I was sort of like, "You're a nut job," basically, like, I was laughed out of the place, really. But then what happened was lockdown literally happened that day in March. I knew when I shut that office door, turned the key, something inside of us knew that I was never, ever, ever gonna go back to that
Hmm.
office in North Tyneside. And, and so then what happened was I had to set up the helpline and all the rest of it, but during that period of time, there was there was an element of my world stopped or my perceived world stopped, and that was because the whole world was locked down in my eyes. I
Yeah.
wasn't, although I was working from home, I was still getting paid. I was helping with the support helpline. I was managing all of that. The truth was, I actually got to go for a walk on a lunchtime. I got to prepare me food rather than running out of the door, you know, and all of that. And but I also knew that the world had changed, and that then made me think the world had stopped, which allowed me to stop. Which then, when I stopped,
Hmm.
then what happened was inside I started to open up and started to be questioning like what's happening, what's the
Hmm.
next step, what's the next step for me, you know, me and my husband, we've been together coming up 20 years, we've been down the fostering to adopt route that wasn't going to happen, that what wasn't meant to be, and it was like, who am I? I went to a wedding in September just after lockdown, you know, when it was all lifted, a beautiful, beautiful wedding, extravagant wedding in the south of France. And I looked and I thought, how on earth did I get here? I looked in the chateau mirror and I
Hmm.
looked at me, the version of me, Ross from heaven, and looked and thought, how on earth did I get? Who am I?
Yeah.
And that was the first realization of, you know, more than there's I want more than there's more to life than
Hmm.
this. And I think what happened was I didn't realize who I was because I became a version of myself to project an image of me that I wanted everybody else to believe was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that came from low self-worth, low self-esteem, and feeling worthless. That's where that
Hmm.
came from, and I didn't even know it. You
Hmm.
know, because when what happened was before the big 40th and the I'll get into, you know, where I went and what I've done, but before that, right, I I had been bullied at school. There's no lie about that. But I was bullied,
Hmm.
uh, spat on at the bus stop when I was on the bus, sitting at the top upstairs at the front of the bus, just getting spat at. And my name's Ross, but getting shouted, Ross, that noise, that
Ah,
and pretending that wasn't happening. No,
mhm.
like just pretending, feeling the spit on me back, but not pretending that it wasn't happening. I forgot all of that,
Yeah.
you know. But what happened was when I went to university, all the rest of it, come back, and it was like, right, I need to get a job, I need to buy a house. So that's what I done. Then I thought, oh, I could, there's an opportunity I can buy another one. Oh yes,
Mhm.
I'll show the bullies. I didn't realize this is what it was. I'll show the bullies my dad's side of the family, which I was estranged from because of his
Yeah.
trauma, and I'll show them. So one house was bought, two house, three house, four house. No
Mhm.
amount of houses, like the Monopoly board, was enough to make
Yeah.
us feel worthy, but I didn't realize at the time, and everybody else is going, "Oh, you're doing really well, Ross. Well done, all that, right?" And the hustle from always having something else on the go as well as my job to make more money, because I put a value on having things
Yes.
to be validated for the dopamine hit of showing, like, all right, I've got a fancy watch on,
Yeah.
I've got the designer bag, I'm flying business class,
Mhm.
I'm worthy, all of those things. And I didn't realize it. Don't get us wrong, I love nice things. I like
Yeah.
nice food. I like nice meals. But what I love more is being sovereign to myself and
Mhm.
feeling free.
And
And
doing it for the right reasons, I guess, as well. Like buying
100%,
something because you generally want it and not because you want to kind of look and
yeah,
appear a certain way. Yeah.
by everybody else.
Mhm.
And it went on to the gym. I had a personal trainer 3 times a week for 7 years. Mind you, I should have been a lot more muscly for the 3 times a week than what I was. But that pump up, skin fade version of me to show people I am masculine.
Mhm.
I am masculine. I'm worthy. Um,
Mhm.
and what happened was, lockdown happened, lockdown lifted. There was an opportunity because one of my buy-to-let properties, me and my sister, like my family we had, and
Mhm.
me and my husband, my sister, and that. And he was moving out. So for the first time, my dad was like, "Well, why don't you sell the house?" Where we were like, "Oh, we thought these were for our future, like oh." But once with the prices straight out of lockdown, they were going up. We're like, right, sell, sell, sell.
Mhm.
At that point, I thought, right, I get to choose now. What do I want to do? What we're going to do? Like, what's my life going to look like? And
Mhm.
I looked around. I was looking at all different places to, to basically what I wanted
Mhm.
was somewhere with a lump of land where I could grow my own vegetables, where I could live off the land and
Be
keep
self-sufficient. Yeah.
self-sufficient, yeah. And
Mhm.
we'd looked around. I'd put in for this lodge park up in Northumberland, but I couldn't get the mortgage. It was all that. It didn't happen. And then basically, I got in the middle of the night. I was just flicking through on Rightmove, and I seen this opportunity of this beautiful Victorian railway station in the Lanchester Valley, and I
Mhm.
thought it didn't look like the photos didn't do it justice to when I was actually
Yeah.
I felt called to it.
Mhm.
And so anyway, me and my husband came to view it, loved it, fell in love with it, put the sealed bids in, and we managed to actually get the property.
Mhm.
Amazing. Took ages to get to, but in amongst that time, last year I knew I was coming up to my 40th, and I thought, like, for, truthfully, what happened was one of my past clients, who became a really dear friend of mine, who lives in Bali, runs retreats. She said, I'm going to be taking my first group into the jungle, into Colombia, to witness grandmother ayahuasca. And straight away, without a skip of a beat, I
Mhm.
said, I'm going. And the reason why that's so important for me is because me and my partner have been together for almost 20 years. We'd never really spent a night apart, right? And I didn't even know how much it cost, whether I'd speak to my partner about it or not, but something inside was
Mhm.
calling us to be able to do this.
Mhm.
And what happened was I was sitting getting my skin fade about 6 months before me that actually mentioned it and said, I'm taking a group into the jungle. I was getting my skin fade, and the lady that was cutting me hair said, "Hey, have you heard about this ayahuasca?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," because I'd been doing some research, and
Mhm.
the medicine caught the plants, Pachamama,
Yes.
the earth, it's waking up, the white lights. And so I knew I was being, I felt cold, but she'd said, oh, there's such and such is doing that in somewhere not too far away. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh no, if I ever do that, I would go so
Hmm.
abroad and I would be going to
Yeah.
South America to do that. And with that, I remember getting my hair cut and thinking, really, when she said that, I thought, when would I really do that? Like, and then lo and behold, a few months later, it was a 6-month program. So for me,
Yeah.
my 40th birthday, I went into the jungle and witnessed the gifts of Pachamama and the shaman in the jungle, and it was an absolutely life changing, incredible experience. I witnessed magic and miracles, and I
Yeah.
bared my soul, but I set myself free.
Yeah. And it's mad what you just been saying there. You were sat in the hairdress, getting your skin done, and that someone's mentioned it, and then something else came up because that's like to me, it's like signs, isn't it? And
Mhm,
sometimes you've got to be aware of the signs because that happens to me. Sometimes you'll see something, hear something, you see it again, you see it again, and if we're too busy,
mhm,
like what you were saying before, if we're too busy and we're distracted, we're not able to be still enough to notice these little opportunities that come our way, are we?
mhm, mhm,
So I think that's like fabulous that that's actually happened.
yeah,
And
mhm,
obviously last night you told me the story about that. So I don't know if you wanted to kind of just
mhm,
touch on it a little bit or just explain how it changed your perception for when you obviously came back.
yeah, that moment. So what happened was for years I felt so worthless, feminine, um, and not worthy, basically. And what happened was I went into the jungle there was 5 of us from all over the world, and there was one lady called Judy, who was a 70-year-old woman.
Hmm.
And she was on her path of truth, and at 70 she decided to go into the jungle. And in the 3 months of training before you go in to work with the medicine, and getting rid of all of your sort of
Hmm.
like surface level
Yeah,
unconscious commitments, like what you're unconsciously committed to, like
yeah.
getting rid of that. So when you went into the jungle, you were ready to really, bare your soul and release.
Hmm.
Anyway, Judy, beautiful, beautiful soul, this 70-year-old woman, and it was day 2. I sat with the ayahuasca for 4 days, each day, several cups. But day 2 was a really, really, it was the day that I went to the depths of despair. When I drank that medicine, I went and faced me demons. I went to the darkest places of disgust, the way I'd put myself in risky situations growing up, all of the different things, and I actually got to work through and clear and to go through, and part of the process of when you go through the medicine is the purging. You can purge, like Arnie purged on one day, and that was the second day, and it was serious. And I had to go to the other end of the world. And I remember I was standing with like completely naked, right? And looking up after, going through the disgust of hating my body and all that,
Yeah.
and looking up, and you could see the eagles
Hmm.
flying around you, and like the Garden of Eden is full of beautiful fruits, and the gifts, and the shaman are like, ask the for the fruits and receive, and oh, beautiful. But anyway, so I'd be in the docks and I was shouting freedom, just being like, and I thought, hey God, if there was a drone, I would have like this
Oh man.
moment of like this, but like I had to do it. And
Yeah.
what happened was the shaman had came out of the Maloka and said, Ross, um, Judy wants you to take her to the portal of release. The portal of release is basically the toilet. It's like a shower curtain in the middle of nowhere, right? Like a wooden box with a shower curtain and just a hole straight down. And I thought, oh God, I've gone to the depths of my soul. Like, and I thought, am I ever, like I'm in my own space, but I thought, no. So I went, seen Judy, picked Judy up, took her down to the portal of release. The minute I closed the curtain, I thought, I knew something wasn't right.
Hmm.
And I looked back up to the Maloka, and the shaman were already coming.
Yeah.
This is magic and miracles, what I'm about to say. And what happened was Judy was non-responsive on the toilet, like that
Mhm.
was it. So they had her down and they were working on her with their medicine, the way they do it. Not like what here it would be blue light, there'd be all kinds of drips and everything like that.
Mhm.
But this wasn't. This was it. Nature
Yeah,
was
you said they didn't even touch her. They didn't do
no,
mouth to mouth. They didn't
no,
do
no,
compressions or anything.
nothing, nothing,
Hmm.
nothing. And what happened was, I was standing there, like they were standing watching what was happening. They were working on her with the sage and all of the chanting. And Judy came around. It was like, whoa, what? And then Judy she said, I need to be held. I need Ross to hold us. And I was thinking, this naked nana, basically, right? Like I've went to the depths of my soul. Like, of course I love you. Like she's my soul family, but God, I've got all my stuff that I'm. And I thought I just did, and I just embraced her. Was on the floor, lifted my legs up, wrapped a blanket around her, and held her. And I was just held her like that. This skinny lady, but her head went back on me, like back. And I was telling her she's loved, and we'll love her, and we're a soul family. And she said to me, she said she'd waited a lifetime to be held by a man like me. And that feeling, them words that a beautiful, beautiful 70-year-old lady who'd lived a full 70-year life had
Hmm.
waited to be held by me,
Hmm.
gay Ross, the Willy Woofer, the feminine one, all that. And it was
Oh,
like,
bless you.
oh, Judy, yes. And the gift she gave me of feeling masculine and embodying
Hmm.
that masculine side of me.
Hmm.
And a part of Judy did die that day
Hmm.
because she looked on the evening. At first, it was looking like it was serious, but in the end, she looked about 20 years younger. And the thing is, she did a part of her died, and it was a part of her past
Hmm.
because what she'd said, and it's her story, not mine, but
Yeah.
I will share this. And she'd said she had been in her relationship with her husband since she was 14. That the living they've got acres and acres and acres of land
Hmm.
in Canada. And she said she'd said to her husband before she'd left, she'd said, you don't know who I am. Would you like us to tell you before she was stepping on the plane to come and see us?
Hmm.
And he told her he had no interest in knowing who she was, and that was the reason she didn't want to go back. A husband of all those years. And what actually the story a year later, people are like, well, what happened?
Hmm.
Judy's back in Canada.
Hmm.
Judy and her husband are together, and Judy and her husband are better than they've ever been.
Hmm.
And it's why? Why is that? Did the husband change? The husband changed because Judy changed. The part of Judy that died was her expectations and boundaries. Our boundaries had been broken, and she'd put those back in place of
Hmm.
what Judy is happy and where she's content with, and our expectations
Yeah.
and our boundaries. And what happened was, because Judy no longer carried on in the cycle of the
Hmm.
repetitive cycle, she stepped out and claimed our power, our sovereignty of what
Hmm.
she's prepared to put up with and what she's not prepared to put up with and what her life looks like.
Hmm.
And in turn, everybody around her changed as well. And the
Yeah.
message of that story is you are the movie star of your life.
Hmm.
You are the most important person, and everybody else that plays a part in your game
Hmm.
is giving you lessons and blessings. But ultimately, you are the number one, and what what you're witnessing is happening for you, not to you. And when you realize that, and you really harness that, that's where magic happens.
Yeah. And it was a beautiful story, like when you told us last night. It was amazing. And part of that story as well, and we'll probably delve in a little bit more about the attachment and about how people attach and how it can actually repel something like you want as well. So someone's commented, so I'm going to say if anybody does want to comment and share, like if you can relate anything either we're saying, and you want to ask a question or comment, I will come back and go through and read them because Stacey's comments, so I will read yours in a minute, honey. Um, because obviously we're getting on to like And we'll definitely come back to Judy in that in a
Yeah.
second, for the attachment, explain that. So, and that was amazing because that was part of your healing journey then as well, wasn't it? The fact that she was there and that happened to you.
Mhm.
And then, so what happened when you came back? Did things look different? Did you just go, right, I know I've got clarity now, I know what I need to be doing with my life? Or was it just that sudden, just knowing, like, ah, I know who
So
I am now, and I don't
yeah.
need to force anything, and I'm just like,
So what happened was that was day two, and I sat with ayahuasca for 4 days. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know, and I didn't know. Each time you go and you sit with intention and you let go, and what happened was on day three, the day after the witness and Judy and myself
mhm,
and all of that, the shaman had said, today you get to do the inner work. Today you get to do your inner child. And I was like, oh, I didn't feel comfortable with that because my mum and dad, my sister were like close. By me going to do the inner child would mean having to go through anyway. What
yeah,
happened was we done this ceremony, and the shaman was saying, like it's basically a cleanse where they get the embers out the fire and they wrap cotton wool around it, and you go into the jungle. You take your clothes off and you rub your body with this cotton wool, and the cotton wool turns black because it's the charcoal inside's getting hotter and hotter. Anyway,
mhm,
you take it in. The shaman do like a ritual with you, and they'd said, look, when you throw it into the fire, and it can burn black or it'll burn white, and you'll see a sign, you'll see a vision, you'll see something. And
mhm,
anyway, so what happened was I done that, and Carolina, this beautiful, beautiful woman who's a shaman, was sitting, and she was in the fire. She was at the fire, and what happened was, honestly, like to say I've witnessed magic and miracles. So what happened was it was thrown into the fire, right? What I witnessed was two wings, like angel wings,
mhm.
that were as clear as day, and we were all like, "Whoa, can you like yes?" And then off it went, and it was like, God, like the wings, you get to fly." I was thinking, "Oh God, right, okay." Drank the medicine, thank you, with intention. Took me mat outside, lay down, and what happened was, as I lay there, I went. I was what when the medicine works through you, you go. It's multidimensional, so it removes the veil basically.
Mhm,
Multi like you get to you can you see
mhm.
the soul of you is sees everything.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, like you were saying, you could see the colours on the like the frequencies from the
yes,
trees and from
the
all that. You
trees,
can kind of,
like
yeah,
everything come. What allows you to do is to be able to be at oneness with the collective,
yes.
with us. We are all one. We're frequency. It's vibration. Seeing, like I witnessed, the cell on a molecular level, your body creating, turning cancerous, and then your body healing.
Mhm,
My own, which I've explained about.
yeah.
I've got a defect in me machines. I've seen all that, but what the biggest life changing thing for me, which was on day three, was I went up through the collective. I went through the up into the collective, through the portal. And what happened was, do you know, like when people have these, I was I was actually holding space on uh, Thursday. Yeah, Thursday in the prison with the prisoners, and one of
Mhm,
the prisoners who tried to commit suicide had a really deep conversation about that moment, because I was able to I could totally resonate with these moment. Anyway, so I went up through into the portal, into the collective, and what came straight through was me dad's family who've passed over,
mhm,
who were the perpetrators of me dad's abuse, me granddad and me nana, and me dad's sister who died at 32, me auntie Terry, of
mhm,
this defect that I've got. And me auntie Terry left our two kids, 7 and 8, Sam and Jade. And what happened was, me auntie Terry was there with her granddaughter Sydney, who obviously she never got to meet on Earth, was
Hmm.
there. And what happened was my hands opened up. Now, bearing in mind, I am estranged from my dad's side of the family, not really had anything to do with them since I was younger, like early teens.
Hmm.
What happened was my granddad, my nana, they were there, and straight away, even though he's in his 70s now, and he's carried his trauma, he's carried it all these
Hmm.
years, and buried it.
Yeah.
And what happened was I opened up, and it was forgiveness, love. And I actually taught my dad's abuser, my granddad, who was lovely to me growing up when we were
Hmm.
like younger. I was actually grateful for my granddad's journey and everything that he'd done, and
Hmm.
to me dad, because my dad made a massive decision not to be an abuser and abuse me. He made that conscious decision,
Yeah.
my hero, to make me me. And
Hmm.
that's why without me nana and me granddad, there would never have been me dad, because it's not like, oh, Ross, you look just like your dad, you've got the same mannerisms. I am
Hmm.
him. We all
Yeah.
do the same grow.
Part of, yeah.
It's human.
Hmm.
So having that connection and that oneness with in the ownership of the connection and the
Hmm.
forgiveness was the thing that set me free, because actually, like a pearl necklace, when you just snip it, right, the bullies all went away, the family traumas all went away, and I came up and I was in the
Hmm.
Garden of Eden, and I looked up and the words were, I'm
Yeah.
complete. And that was because what had happened was this burden, this we'll have a sack of for our life, and we'll pick
Hmm.
up little stones and pebbles and boulders of other people's stuff, other people's reality, other people's um, truths, and they're put on us to believe them to
Hmm.
be. And what happens is they're heavy. They're really, really heavy.
Yeah.
And all of those years, all those houses, all those business opportunities, all those fancy bags, all those everything was just, and it was just cleanse, cleanse, cleanse. And it was just like, I'm complete. And as I stood up, like balled up like that, I looked at the Maloka, the shaman already. It's not like you call them
Yeah.
intuitively, they know. And
Yeah.
down the was Carolina had a harmonica, and this moment that I had with her, and the emotion, and she was playing a harmonica, and she had these like dried bushes, like dried
Hmm.
like, and she was bashing, like playing a harmonica. The dreadlocks were down to her bum,
Hmm.
curvy lady, and her hair was swishing, and she was playing the harmonica, and it was my heart, your heart, my heart, the universe, my heart, your heart, my
Hmm.
heart, the universe, showing we're connected. She spoke broken English. Now she's like, can I give you a cuddle?
Oh, bless
Heart
you.
to heart. And I was like, oh, and it was like the
Yeah.
purge, cleanse, the release, and all of
Hmm.
that. And then on day 4, went into, and it was all for me. That was
Yeah.
all embodying me, because I had so much hatred for me body dysmorphia, all blah 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 blah, and
Hmm.
actually embodying. Yes, okay, so I had a chest, which is looks quite good when it's pumped up, but I've
Hmm.
also got muffin tops that I love equally. Do you know what I mean? I've also got a bit
Yeah.
of a stretch mark that I love equally now. And
Yeah.
I accept everything, because me whole body is the vessel that's carrying me on through me life. And I love every part of it.
Yeah.
It's not like it's bragging. What it is I'm happy with me. I'm happy.
Hmm.
I'm truly, truly happy. And everybody gets to feel this feeling too on their journey of
Yeah.
truth.
And I suppose not everybody, if they're listening, don't have to go to Colombia to have
So,
this experience. You've just kind of went out there, and it's probably been part of how quick it's happened because you've had no other distractions. You've been there just for that intention and that purpose.
mhm,
Whereas, like people who are probably watching now, I'm assuming some of them might have kids, got
mhm,
jobs, and it can be hard to do that work when to try and give yourself that stillness and that space as well.
mhm,
I'll tell you what I'll do before we go any further. I'll read the comments out, and
mhm,
then I wanted to kind of delve in a little bit more to like forgiveness,
mhm,
because your story is a perfect example of how you can give
mhm.
forgiveness and what that kind of releases you from as well.
Yeah.
Um, because I know personally me, in the past there's only been one person really that I thought I'll never forgive. Um, but then I'm like, as I've got older, I'm thinking I need to give that forgiveness. Um, so anyway, so Stacey, I don't know if she's still watching. Tell us if you're still watching, Stacey. She's got COVID changed a lot of people. So we're going back. COVID changed a lot of people for the better. It gave people more thinking time and more time to spend on themselves. Made us all take a step back and slow down. And I definitely think that did happen for a lot of people as well. Like for me, I liked it at first, give her time with the family. But if anything, I spiraled since COVID and I'm still trying to get back from COVID. But I think it's been a blessing in disguise because I couldn't gig, I couldn't sing or anything. And I felt like I lost a massive part of me because I felt a lot of me was me singing, was me gigging. Do you know what
Mhm.
I mean? So, who was I without me gigging that I've always done and entertaining and constantly being on me computer learning songs. So it's kind of forced us to go, oh, like what now? Like who am I without that? That was
Mhm.
my attachment. That was it. Oh, who am I now without that? Um, then we've got Jackie. I just realised who you're on with, Haley. I went to school with Ross's husband, Lee. It's another person I know, actually, Jackie.
Oh,
Oh, Sarah's got love it. Body is just a vessel, so we should love it, scars and all.
yeah.
Exactly. Tony, I hold on to so much, so can't wait to hear how we let that go, which is coming. I loved COVID, loved your COVID kitchen parties. So I used to do kitchen gigs.
All right.
That's how the wine started, Ross. I used to drink
Ah.
wine before that. It was good at the time, though.
Mhm.
So let's talk about a little bit then about how to kind of let that go, I guess, for the normal person. Um, it might be worth quickly talking about attachments, and then we can kind of move on to the deep, deep stuff because it's something that I've wrote down that I wanted to cover. Going back to your story, if somebody missed it, it was basically you met this lady who was 70, who was with a partner from when she was 14. Um, but they weren't happy necessarily. She was going to come on this journey, and he was like, I'm not really bothered about who the real you is. He was just not interested.
Yeah.
When you said she kind of had all of that release, was held by you, went back home, and then was in her own truth. And because she was then no longer needing him to be a certain way with her, and she was just herself, I
Mhm.
would say that is a perfect example of cutting that attachment and it being there naturally and that
Yeah.
energy naturally. And if anybody wants, I'll share a video about attachment that I watched not long ago. I was telling you, watched it not long ago, and I was like, wow, like that makes sense.
Mhm.
When you kind of you see like you need I realized you corrected yourself. I don't need, I require. I
Mhm.
love that. When you say you need something, or you're really, really trying so hard to get something, what you're doing is you're telling the universe that you're in lack and that you
Yeah.
haven't got, and then you're pushing it further and further away. So being able to kind of go, right, I'm not going to attach myself to this outcome. And they teach this in Forex trading as well.
Right.
If you win, great. Don't be overexcited. If you lose, just have no emotions. Trade like a robot. Not that we need to be robots, but let go of the attachment, I would say, is a massive
Mhm.
part of giving yourself that space,
Mhm.
I would say. Um, so forgiveness.
Mhm.
Would you say that that's the most important thing
Mhm. And
is forgiveness?
so,
Do we do it?
which and how do you do it? And it's
Oh,
all that I can say is that I can only give advice on the journey traveled with the distance walked with my shoes, and that's my truth, you know. And the greatest gift you can give anybody is the power of your story because nobody is quite like you. Nobody has walked the path. Nobody's been subjected to or experienced or witnessed exactly what you have. And I think for me, the forgiveness, I think, I love me dad and me mom and me. I'm so close to me family, all me family, me husband, everybody, right? Well, I'm very, very, very blessed. However, I do know me dad is a 71-year-old man. Bearing in mind, I know me and my journey of truth and all of the work. The work, when I run me retreats, It's beautiful. Don't get us wrong. It's a lovely experience, but it's work. You don't. It's like being work, doing the work on yourself is like doing a workout in the gym. But when we talk about forgiveness, and I share this story. So what happened was I'd forgot about a traumatic moment that happened to me. Completely forgot. Okay. What happened was when obviously comfort eating, when I was at school, getting bullied, finding me, who I was, coming out as gay, not, all that. And then I knew I was going to university in Manchester. So obviously I was on a right diet, lost 6.5 stone.
Hmm.
What happened was at that young, impressionable age, losing all that weight, I associated being desired and liked with losing weight. And right, so then I'll put myself in some very out clubbing, drinking, put myself in risky
Hmm.
positions and all of that sort of stuff. And I found myself, I woke up in a place that I didn't know where I was. I didn't know, I couldn't move, but I could feel the sweat and all of that sort of thing, and like and the drip, 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 and I can remember opening my eyes, and it was a very, very traumatic experience at that moment in time because I couldn't hardly, well, I couldn't. I was paralyzed by
Hmm.
fear, and the moment the adrenaline was taken over. And what happened was, as a consequence of that moment, a few uh, days later, I was back home and in me halls, and I didn't go out the house for 2 weeks. I mean, it was serious. I didn't realize at the time, but I'd buried it. Had to come back home to Newcastle, and I must have been speaking and talking and telling my parents everything because I'm close to them and all the rest of it. But I didn't even remember, and it was only years later, like when I was driving down going for a medical appointment back in Manchester on the scan. And I said to my dad just flippantly, I was like, Dad, like, I can't remember when before was anxious, before I suffered anxiety. I'm like, I can't remember being able to sleep all the way through. Like, I can't, like, when I was a holiday rep, I was carefree. I remember that was good fun. And like, I can't remember. And he went just innocently, he says, Do you not think it was that moment when you were in Manchester? And as I was driving, it just it was like just went into a nothingness of like numbness of thinking Manchester, like knowing I was driving down there as well, and it was like the remembrance of the black box, the dark moments of that time of the panic attacks where I couldn't go back out the house, when my fingernails fell off because of
Hmm.
the anxiety and the stress that my body was under and all of that. And it was like that's possibly what is the thing that's caused all of this. But
Hmm.
I must say, no one, and a no one isn't a belief, it's what I know. I'm not telling you, I'm just saying I know,
Hmm.
each person. But
Yeah.
what I do know for me is that when everything happens for you and not to you, in the moment of being in the eye of the storm or that traumatic moment, your body should, protect yourself from witnessing. Yeah. But you can bury them black boxes down, whether you're 1, 2, 3 in the womb up till you're in your 20s. Like I was, 20-year-old, and it was like I'd forgotten at 20, like just a black, yeah.
Hmm.
But your body protects itself. But what you get to do with that, right, is it's the lesson you get from it, and how you own that moment and that remembrance of that to be able to go through to set yourself free. And for me, right, I used to believe, oh, I'll put myself in that risky position. I was the one that was happy to go to, this party, whatever, XYZ. And the truth is, it wasn't, because I didn't, it was not consensual or anything like that.
Hmm.
But it happened, right? It happened. I worked through that. I coped with it
Hmm.
until I realized my purpose and me path of truth of being able to offer support to not only business owners and getting their head right, or being able to work with individuals or my social enterprise or in the retreats that I run here,
Mhm.
by having that lived experience, it allows me to be able to serve and
Mhm.
hold space for other people who have a black box, who are too frightened to even, it's too painful to even talk about it, let alone explore it and feel safe and
Mhm.
feel nurtured enough to be able to purge the black box and then
Yeah.
be able to get the lessons from it. And on Thursday, I was asked to hold space in the prison. On Wednesday, I had a client who had been subjected to a very similar situation to what happened to me. They're at university as well, and holding space on that day to then go into the prison the next day to speak to a group of offenders that have committed those types of crimes without judgment, without judgment,
Mhm.
without judgment. I was able to hold that space and listen to them, listen to what they those human beings,
Mhm.
the journey they've traveled, what's their story, you know,
Mhm.
and then be able to share my truth, my story in great detail of what I was subjected to, but also what I got to embody, witness, and to release,
Mhm.
and to also then shine a light on me dad and his journey and
Mhm.
his choice. And when
Yeah.
I work with anybody, and I told Haley, it's either you do or you don't. It's a yes or a no. Trying, a try is sitting on the fence, right? It's not quite ready for your window of opportunity. So there's no point in saying, I'll try, if your window of opportunity isn't there for you to grasp it. And what I mean by that do you know when you start, I've lost weight, I've put weight on, I've lost weight, I've put weight on, I've
Mhm.
been on that journey. But what happens is you get a window. You get a window of opportunity where something resonates or it all aligns and you grasp it, and then before you know it, you've had £3 off, £4, you've had half a stone, you've done it over the last 6 weeks,
Mhm.
you've done it healthily, you've done all that. It's your window of opportunity, right? I know this because what happened in a weird way, I was in a position of where, because I believe as well, yeah, there are people are addicts or they're not.
Mhm.
I'm an addict. I'm addicted to feelings. I'm addicted to dopamine.
Mhm.
I am that type of person.
Mhm.
And feelings, moments. I'm addicted to all of those things. And one thing I've done, even it sounds silly, really, but it's true. So my friends I was at Gay Pride in London, loving life, and what happened was I knew it was not, I'd never smoked anything like that, but basically I'd tried vaping. Like, do you know the flavors
Yeah.
and I wanted to feel the feeling of what actually people say when they get a nicotine hit, right? Like,
Yeah.
no, I was thinking, oh, it'll be fine. I was hooked, right?
Oh wow.
But the self-sabotage of enjoying the moment of the relax, but then thinking, I'm killing myself, messing with my head.
Mhm.
Anyway, because I'm part of the genetics, that self-sabotage as well. So I spoke to the professor, and what happened was the put us in touch with a psychologist, and I was thinking, I've been to Colombia, I've cleansed. I'm holding space. Who am I to you know what? Anyway, I was like, yep, I'll speak, because I was ready to, like, I just felt the shame, and all that.
Mhm.
And what happened was the psychologist spoke to us, and she said, do you think you could try and not vape until Friday? This was on the Tuesday. And I remember the victim, I'll try. Instantly when I said that, I thought, try? And then I said to her, I went, listen, I can't guarantee whether I will or I won't, but bring us on Friday. And
Mhm.
what happened was with that, see this? Yeah, this is me altar. This is where I sit. This is where I get me golden hour, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I sat here on that Tuesday night, deep in meditation, done a full clearing, and honoured the vape,
Hmm.
but also the sovereignty of me to let that go. And with that, I flicked it in the bin at 1:30 in the morning, and I've never had it a one since, right?
Mm,
That
wow.
was a couple of months ago. So the
Hmm.
thing is, it's like when it's hard, when we're thinking, oh, it's everything, there's so many things happening, right, around us, but
Hmm.
we can't pour from an empty cup. So what I would say is, how do you start? You start by finding yourself either a golden 10 minutes. There's 24 hours in a day. If you can't give yourself 10 minutes
Hmm.
for yourself, then your life's unaligned, and you're giving too much of yourself away if you can't give yourself 10 minutes to
Hmm.
be able to be in your own space and gift yourself that time.
Hmm.
Know. And when people come on me retreats and we talk about the work and how do you start by creating a ritual and by creating a habit. And for me, what my ritual is I created this little space, and it can be any little bits and bobs that you pick up along the way, whatever. It's your space to be able to honor and to have that space. And I sit and it's something that it's part of who I am. It's encoded in what I do. And for me to be feeling completely freedom,
Hmm.
complete freedom, sovereignty comes from the work of being able to sit here and to have my time on a morning,
Hmm.
first thing in the morning and last thing at night, to cleanse, to release, to let go of, and to be absolutely grateful for the moment of right here and right now.
Yeah. And obviously that's like self-care, what you were saying, like if you kind of give yourself 10 minutes, but even doing that, you're telling your brain and the university, I guess, like, oh, I do matter and I am important.
Mhm.
Even just starting with like a few minutes a
Yes.
day. And
Yeah.
then that can kind of go from there, can't it? So you do
Absolutely.
that for yourself. Because I know
Mm.
I've been guilty in the past of doing things like that for myself, which I have been lately, so I'm proud of myself. But giving yourself that little minute, and then the next thing could be, right, do I do a little bit extra or do I do something that I'm going to get joy out of? If I'm just working all day, looking after the kids all day, like could I go out with my friends one night or could I go for a walk one night? And then you can just stack and add on, can't you? Those more positive
Yes.
habits to get yourself, I would say, in a better mindset to be ready to then go, right, I'm feeling that I've raised my vibration a little bit. And now I'm going to probably work on that trauma.
Mm.
And like was said earlier on, like you don't have to go to Colombia to do it, but you have to have the intention and make the decision and I'm just speaking on what I've learned and what I'm doing myself, by the way. Like you said,
Yeah.
this is just our story and our
Yeah.
experiences. So I would say is just make the decision, right? Enough's enough.
Mhm.
I need to make positive changes. And but do something about it. Don't just sit there and think
Yeah.
meditating is going to get you anywhere. Meditate to get you in the mindset, but then action needs to happen, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Action.
So that leads on to Haley when we talk about the yeses and the nos.
Oh, well, before we do the yeses and the nos, let's read these comments.
All right,
Then
okay.
we'll do the
It's
yeses and the
funny.
nos.
What's funny? It's funny how like there's comments because obviously we're just talking here and I can't, but like it's an honor. I love this.
With people that know you, actually. So it's like, um, right, forget so Sarah, forgiveness starts with you, but it's sometimes the hardest to give, 100%. Oh, she put not, and I don't know what that was too. Absolutely beautiful, genuine soul he is. That's from Jackie.
Mm,
100% agree with that. I've always felt, also Sarah, I've always felt the calmest place is when you're in the eye of the storm. It's once you're able to step out of the storm, you feel the storm and process it. Yes,
mm,
because sometimes in the moment you can't think rationally, can you? It's
mhm,
really hard. And if you get used to going, right, like I know that every month I get that like ladies' time where I'm
mhm,
feeling down and depressed and I feel like my life's over and I'm feeling crap and you forget, Haley, this happens every month. Come on. Like sort yourself out. So being able to recognize that it is just temporary, I think is important for people as well. Even though that temporary might be like it's a long time, but if you're allowing yourself to stay in it by
mhm.
not doing any of those actions, oh, or is it you prison work? Tell us more, Tony Men's your vibe. Yes, this is my goal. And then Jade's put absolutely. So obviously I don't know which comments were for what we're being talking about, but it's good feedback anyway. And of course, if anybody's got any questions, then ask as well. But before we do the yes and no, to summarize it, how would you summarize the starting to get help? What we've just talked about, but in a brief summary, in case people have come on. If you are wanting to have a better life, or maybe you're trying to get forward in your business or whatever, what's the first things to maybe start doing in a
The fir
nutshell?
Yeah. So, do you know when you put in something, you go, "Yeah, I have no idea." I'm only joking. I
Whatever feels right for you,
something
ask
else, yeah,
yourself the
yeah.
question. Do you know what mine would be? Is start asking yourself questions and journaling. I think it helps,
And
doesn't
then
it?
yeah, so
Write it down and read it back and go, oh,
yeah,
that's me shit
um,
on paper. I can see
yeah.
it. I can,
I think, do you know one of the things that, one of the which is a difficult thing because we look in the mirror every single day,
mhm.
but how many times do we look in the mirror through our eyes to our own soul?
Yeah, to our own eyes.
How many times do we do that? And, that was a massive thing when I locked eyes with myself, really looking attentively into the depth of my soul. And I
Hmm.
think for me, right, the very fact that being ready, right, your window of opportunity will present divinely at the right time because what I tell people is exactly where you are right now, right here, is exactly where you're meant to be. Because not a minute past what was, and the minutes before that's gonna happen hasn't even happened yet. It's right here, right now.
Hmm.
You get to excuse me, you get to be and you get to feel. It's like for me, right? It's like I close my eyes right now. I hold me like me heart,
Hmm.
and I breathe out, and it's like the vessel.
Hmm.
And for me, it's a case of, right, your journey where you are right now, whatever you've went through, right, is what you where you're meant to be. And it's about the next chapter. So now we're coming it for who those who are watching right now, it's night time, right? It's like start with a clean slate. Yeah, turning the page when you go to bed. No, thank you for everything that I've witnessed, everything that I've been a part of, and everything that has happened for me. And so it is. And then the next day, tomorrow, the sun will rise as we always know it will do, and that fresh page of that fresh chapter of your life. And you are the creator. You get your pen and you get to start writing your story how you want to do it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I've got questions right now.
Oh,
We will get a yes or no.
yeah. Mm.
Um, so Sarah's put, what work are you doing in prisons and how did you get into it?
So what
Fantastic
happened
subject.
was, yeah, so I was approached by basically what happened was I've got two businesses. One helps businesses scale and grow using artificial intelligence and technology to streamline processes and scale. Okay, like in any, it doesn't matter what business you're in, you have the opportunity to be able to adopt technology and utilize it in a for good. Okay, then I've also got a business called Behind the Curtain, which is a social enterprise which I set up, and that was set up to encourage people to step out from behind the curtain. Basically, the wings, or you'll know, like being in singing and stuff. It's
Mhm.
like standing on your own stage, standing there in your own light, being sovereign to yourself and sharing your gifts of who you are, not being the wallflower, being the number one movie star in your life, and that's what my
Mhm.
purpose is. So I set that up, and I managed to secure funding for that. And what happened was, basically the people. This is funny because I mean, I run retreats from me home, right? And like I'm from Hebburn originally, and I live in Durham now. And what the it's called, and it's a calling, and people are finding out. And I don't really do loads and loads of marketing or tell loads of people about it, but it just travels. And a friend of mine got in touch with us and said, "Would you be interested in holding space in the prison. And I said, yes, no problem. I'll do that. So then I was asked to go in, and to be able to offer that space. And I think, and I was also given free reign. So there was a 70-year-old man who was on the morning, the first, like I'd done two sessions, and the first one, a repeat, somebody who's been in prison on a number of occasions, and he was broken. This guy was crying his eyes out like a baby, like the baby boy, like it was taken back to the 7-year-old kid, and he was
Mhm.
crying and crying and crying, probably crying tears for himself, for the circumstances he finds himself in, for his victims, for being a victim, for all of those things. And one of the beautiful things that I love about the prison and what it allowed us to do was the only restriction was I wasn't allowed to take me tools or what you like, and I had a bit of a feather for the fly. I'd done a guided meditation and took them out of the prison and into the universe, but what happened was I held the space, and at the end, I shook all of their hands. At the end of the day, we're all human beings, and I'm not one to judge anybody. I'm there to serve and to be able to hold the space. And he said in all of his years of being on the in, because they call it on the in or on the out, like, I'm getting
Yeah.
the lingo. And, and what Mozzie says in all of his years, he's never ever experienced anything like it. And I thought, wow, because I mean, it was hard to create the ambience in that place. I tell you, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Be in the
Imagine.
space. You become the space. The
Mhm.
group becomes the space. The power of the group, the power of the individuals that were sitting there. Because there were some people that wouldn't come out of their cells, the vulnerable prisoners who, you know,
Mhm.
and but those that did turned up and showed up, and it was an honor. It was an
Mhm.
experience that they said would I be interested in going in, and yes is the answer. They're the
Yeah.
hardest to reach.
And didn't you say as well that like when it came along, it was like, wow, it was part of your journey because you got to face people who committed crimes that you were a victim of.
Hmm.
So that was like someone would say, wow, like how could you even do that? And that
Uh-huh.
just shows that level of forgiveness, doesn't it, for
Yeah.
you to just go and not
'Cause-
judge.
yeah.
And you said something yesterday, I don't know if you mentioned it earlier, but you'd said like people have got two choices. So a lot of people that do these crimes, a lot of the time, it's because it's happened to them, but then they've got a choice to say, right, it's happened to me, so I'm not going to do
Hmm.
it. I'm not going to do it
Yeah.
or repeat it.
Yeah.
But then I would imagine the people who it has happened to them and they repeat it, they probably feel like they're never going to be valued or appreciated or again. So you've probably went in there and give them that hope to go, wow, like I can change.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I
So
would, I would hope.
I'd hope so
Yeah, I
that
would
they could
hope.
come out because
Uh-huh.
I don't think I'm at that level where I could yet. But
Hmm.
hearing your story is like so inspiring to go. And I
Oh.
remember when I was trained to be a counselor, I was like, there's only one type of people I couldn't help, and that was the people like you went to say. I was like, I couldn't do it.
Uh-huh.
But hearing that story, it's like, wow, I know
Yeah.
that they've had a purpose on this
Yeah.
in a journey.
Yeah, and the thing is, right? Like, I've got. It's funny because, like, you can't. Like, I don't want to know what because that's not the level of what the level of what I serve. What I serve
Yeah,
is I see this. I look into the soul of the person
yeah,
and forget about because of course it started by every single one of them had all been a victim,
hmm
but then they choose to be a perpetrator as well.
hmm
And then they have to look at that position and that the action they've taken and to accept themselves for what they've done. And
hmm
it's only then that they can build and grow from where they're at of absolute
yeah,
self-acceptance as well. And we're all the same. It doesn't matter what journey you're on.
hmm
You've got to accept yourself. Every inch of you is absolutely beautifully perfect the way it is. It doesn't matter that you're not a size 8. It doesn't matter that your hair doesn't look like this, or it doesn't matter that you feel like you haven't got X or you haven't got Y, because you are your greatest gift.
hmm
You are your greatest gift. There's a girl on TikTok. I watch her at the moment, right? And in a world of consumerism and feeling lack and projection of what things should be, The one thing I love about TikTok is about the authenticity of people who actually just are. And they're the most interesting people. They're the most inspiring because they're the
Mhm.
most authentic. And
Yeah.
we actually connect with people because of their authenticity, because of them being, there's no edge about I can sleep at night, right? I can sleep at night knowing, right, that I get to do what I get to do. It's an honor. I can't believe a few years ago I was sitting under a bloody burglar bar windows and under the stairs, my laptop and me, and having to do what I was doing to where I am now, where I get to
Mhm.
walk in my beautiful gardens and share the gifts
Mhm.
of what I've gotten and be. And it's an honor. It's an absolute honor and a privilege to be able to be doing
Mhm.
what I'm doing, and I love it. And long may it continue. But if it all
Yeah.
went tomorrow, if everything went tomorrow, and I said this to my mum and dad, because I've bought and sold, wanted to have X amount, all that, right? If everything went tomorrow, of course, it would be a bitter pill to swallow. But the
Mhm.
truth is, it's always going to be okay.
Yeah.
Always, always going to be okay. We're
Yeah.
meant to witness, we're meant to experience, we're meant to go through this,
Mhm.
right? Because it's not the end game. The end game is Christ consciousness, going through in the journey of life and understanding what you are down here to do, as far
Yeah.
as I believe. And it's all of these moments, all of these things that are happening for you that are giving you the tapestry of your life to learn your experiences as a spirit having a human
Mhm.
experience.
And even on like an easier way to put it so people can take it a little bit easier and probably resonate. So if you are, say, in your car and somebody cut you up and you start screaming and shouting and banging on your thing, or whether somebody attacks you or whatever, you can always choose how to respond, can't you? So you can choose to give them power by feeling angry and feeling sad and feeling upset. And it's not easy, is it? It's not easy. Your feelings are valid, I would say, but then you can choose to hold on to them or let them go. But Tony's got a question. How do you know when that opportunity is there? Do you know you talking about that opportunity with what I'm
Window.
assuming? How do you know? She's saying.
Hmm. I was just feeling that question so I can respond. So, what I would say, you will know the window of opportunity. It'll come when it's starting to fit your life, or the moments that you're subjected to. So, for example, like starting a diet, or having to go outside of your comfort zone, whatever it is, you become unaligned. Your feelings become unaligned, and what I mean by that is, comfortable. If you put your hands together, right, you'll automatically put one thumb on top of the other, right? Just naturally, you'll automatically do that. But now try the other way around, right? It feels different,
Oh,
right? It feels
that feels
different,
weird.
but that's uncomfortable.
'Cause,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's uncomfortable. So, like,
oh, it does feel weird.
being comfortable, nothing really grows because it's comfort zone. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's normal. It's what you're used to. It's safe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's uncomfortable, that's where feel that's where things change. When things aren't aligned, that's when things change. So, for example, it could be an opportunity where a straw that breaks the camel's back. You know, um, a word or something that somebody says. It could be, and it hits, and it oh, that hurt. Feeling
Mm-hmm.
that feeling of, right, that's it. Or you have a choice. And when you're listening attentively, with you have a choice, you either yes or you no, right? And it's so easy for to say that because there's so many reasons to say why you don't have a choice, because of this, because of that, because of this one, that one, the other one. I can't because of this. Because what you're doing is you're putting your sovereignty, your security outside of you for all the reasons why you can't. Yeah. But if you bring it within, and actually anything unaligned must go. If it's
Mm-hmm.
feeling like it's not aligned, this is me sign. Is this me window of opportunity? Because the truth is, right? everything's feeling.
Hmm.
We're feeling everything all of the time, and you'll know, right? And it's like, look, you know, when we say look for the signs, when you see the 222, the 111, them are just that's just the reassurance. It's a message within a
Or like you, somebody talking about this retreat and then someone else talking about this retreat,
yes.
and then you just going, actually, that's
It
rings
feels
true at that time.
yes. Yeah.
Hmm. I would probably also add and say, like, and she said, "Ah, thank you, makes sense to me now," she said. But
Oh.
also, I would say maybe try asking. Like, that's what I've been doing a lot of time. Like, who, like I said to you yesterday, I was like, who am I? Who am I?
Hmm.
Not Haley the mom, not Haley the partner, not Haley the friend, the daughter. Who am I?
Hmm.
And then when you start asking the right questions, you get answers. And I think it's the same with waking up and going, like, I can't do that. Then your brain's gonna go, ah, you can't do it. And it doesn't even try.
Hmm.
Whereas if you go like, how can I do this? Or how do I learn? Or what do I need? Then you're asking yourself the right questions. And then because you're vibrating at that level, you're more you notice things more,
Hmm.
don't you?
Hmm.
I would say anyway. Um, but she said yes, she's going to give that a go. So the yes and no
Hmm.
got here.
Yes.
The yes and no game. So we
Hmm.
talked about this last night. Let me see.
Yeah. So what I tend to do is and it works both ways. So when I have clients, what you tend to find is with when this is what happens, yeah. This is what happens when clients come through the door, and you'll be one of them, and both the yes and the no will resonate at different times. So you get somebody who comes in, right, and they'll go, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm just going to have an open mind, blah 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 blah, and then they start telling us about, and I do this one for that one, and I do this for that, and I do that, and I do this for everybody, and nothing's coming back to me, right? So they're always doing something for somebody else, right? And that's a level of service, but that often comes from a low self-worth or low self-esteem, or what, putting your safety again outside of you. So when you have somebody, if you're one of these people who does everything for everyone and wonders why nobody's doing it for you, what you get to do as a task is to do the 5 no's. What I mean by that is when you gut and you're about to blurt out, yes, I'll do that for you. If some, it could be, Mom, are you going to do whatever, do X, Y, Z? And you're about to just do it, you say no. You make a mental note of the no, write it down, remember it. No, I can't do that right now. I'm not doing that right now. I've got X, Y, Z to do. So you tell that person no, right? Do that 5 times, not the same person, but to five
Mhm.
no's, and then reflect either at the end of the day of the when you've said that no, at the end of the week when you've said all 5 of the no's, and look at the impact that it's had on you by putting that boundary in place. Okay, because that's what you're doing is you're putting boundaries in place, expectations and boundaries. So if you're somebody and you're everything to everyone and nothing to no one, if that makes sense, yeah. If you, I do this, I do that, I do that, I do that.
Is that relating to you, Tony? She's got, oh my God, and laughy faces. Sorry, keep.
All right, okay. So you hear that, yeah, you hear that. It's like, you know, I'll do this, do this, do that. Now, another one, you can have an introvert, or you can have somebody who's going through a really difficult time, somebody who can't even be bothered at this moment in time to even get their hair washed on a morning, or to brush their teeth, or to get out of bed, or even get their dressing gown off. I've got clients like that, right?
Mhm.
I've worked with clients like that who can't even, you know, muster the energy to even get out of bed. And the thing is with that, what you get to do is to work on the 5 yeses. So when you're approached by a loved one or a caregiver or some support network or a counselor, whatever, and they ask you to do something and you automatically want to say no, say yes and do the 5 yeses. And even though you're like, oh, yes, do that. And I
Worry
can
about it later.
I can guarantee the reflection of the 5 yeses
Hmm.
and the 5 no's, you would have already started your journey of moving through your window of opportunity.
Hmm. I love that. And oh, thanks, honey. Someone's like looking good. Probably a little bit. But
Yeah.
obviously, I went to the business networking event on Tuesday, which I've never been to a business networking event ever. So that was definitely a yes for me, thinking I need to do more things for me because like Tony's probably like saying she does this a little, but I say yes a lot, but it's because I feel like if I can do something and it's going to help someone else, then I'll do it because it makes me feel good that I've helped them. But what I didn't realize that actually I feel better when I can do something for myself. So it took us quite a while to like recognize that.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I mean? So like went to the business networking event. For me, it was uncomfortable at first. And even when I was there, I was like, I've seen people just kind of going, "Oh, hello, what are you? Who are you? What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh," it was nice, but then I didn't feel comfortable to go and do that. But I went there,
Hmm.
and it was my first time, and I know it'll get easier.
Yes.
Um, and what else? And then I went to Scotland, as you know,
Yes.
on my
Beautiful.
own for a few
Amazing.
days. It's such an amazing thing that I've done. And even though I love helping people, and that's the whole thing that I'm doing and I want to do, I'm now recognizing that I need them boundaries and I need to be saying no more. And I have been. And it's like, it's quite empowering, even though at the time
Mm.
I thought, I can do this. So I'm going to do it. And it's like, well, yeah, I can do it. But what am I kind of like losing from doing that? I'm losing a lot of me time,
Mhm.
actually. And
Mhm.
time's valuable.
The
And I
greatest gift,
wasn't having time to meditate or do
yeah,
new things.
the greatest gift you can give anybody is time
Time.
and sharing your story
Hmm.
because, it's like for me, time, listening, talking, sharing, supporting, just being. It's so, so incredibly important and it's been
Hmm.
lost because of other
Yeah.
things, everything else in the way. Like, actually, like,
Yeah.
be, you know.
We're all doing, aren't we? And
Mm.
that's definitely something that I've recognized. I'll even say I'm a doer. And
Mhm.
I am, and don't get us wrong, I do think it's part of who I'll always be because I do enjoy it.
Yes.
But I don't spend enough time being.
Mm.
I do. And
Mhm.
I don't just be.
Mhm.
I still haven't even meditated. I shared a meditation this morning. I was going to meditate, but my sister turned up. She was in pain with her shoulder.
Mhm.
And then, so I did some castor oil on her and did some things. So that knocked me schedule back half an hour. Then went for a walk with the dog. And then I went with David because I had to pop the bank. But then he got loads of calls for work. So I was stuck in his van for nearly 2.5 hours. So then that was so my day. It's just the unexpected comes, but you have to
Mhm.
also know that that's going to happen because sometimes I'd schedule myself too much, like 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30, 10:45. Do you know what I mean? And now
Mhm.
I'm like trying to just stop doing that.
Yeah.
So she's put there's always the guilty feeling when you say no, but then if there's reflection, that would change, I'd imagine.
Mhm.
So when you
Mhm.
say no and you feel guilty,
Mhm.
is it worth
Right.
reflecting on that?
100%.
And I guess if the person who you say no to is going to be paid off or eventually fall out with you, then maybe that's good that you did that because then you're shedding them
Mm.
out of your life because they're clearly not worth.
So, Haley, we were quick. I know we've talked for
Well,
you, but I'm just saying, will I quickly talk about the colours?
yes, go for
That
it.
helps, doesn't it? Yeah. So one of the things that I found it on TikTok, I think it was, where it totally, totally resonated, and I tell everybody about it now because like it's so true. Okay. So in your life, you have different types of people. Okay. So you on your vibe, your tribe, your growth, your who you, what you are, what you're doing.
Oh,
You have green people. Yeah. So I'm a green person. Haley, you're a green person. We're our green people. You can tell that's why we're buzzed off each other the minute we met. I heard her voice. I
mhm.
was like, hiya, blah, blah, blah. And we've known each other for years. We met last week. We've known
I
each other
know.
less than a week.
And then the podcast yesterday, which was nearly 2 hours.
Yes, and then chatting. The time just
Yeah.
disappears. Yeah, that's a green person. A green person lifts you up, right? Your green person's your tribe, your people, right? Then you have orange people. Orange people are there to question. The orange people are there to challenge the green person, you being a green person. Now that orange person is a green person to their green people, if that makes sense, but to you they're an orange, right? So the thing is, they question you. I don't follow that school of thought. tell us some more about this. I don't believe that, or whatever. And it's good because that puts boundaries in place, and that also you need your orange people to know that you're a green person. Okay. And then what you have is you have your yellow people.
Mhm.
Yellow people are the people that you might have carried for years along the way. We were best mates when we were 10. We're now in our 50s, and actually we're two totally different people we've got now in common, right? They're the happiest people to you, but they're the daggers in the back. Yeah. They're smiling and nodding, but you know that the energy that they're putting out in that field and that aura says exactly the opposite to what you're doing. Yeah. They're the people that will criticize, the people those people
Mhm.
are not needed and required within your life. The only people that you don't require in your life are yellow people.
Yeah.
So you vibe with your green, you question with your orange, and you release the yellows.
Yeah, I love that. So maybe we just need to do like a little tally of like all the people we know and colour them in.
When I
You
when,
know, it'd be interesting doing that.
well, do you know what it is,
Quite
Hilly? When I
funny.
told people they're like yellow, yellow, orange, green.
Well, you told me when I met you at that place, then I was like, oh, that's interesting. But I'm like, oh, but I like yellow, the colour. So I'm like, can we not make it like a traffic light system
Make
instead?
it whatever color you want. Do
Like
it.
the red's the no-goes and the
Yeah,
green's the go-go. Maybe
whatever
you should just
works
change
for
your colour.
whatever works for you. Yeah.
Oh, Sarah's put, I've done the colour test at work. I'm director red, sunshine, yellow. Oh my God, red, sunshine. Is that, oh, must be something different.
Different. Yeah.
It's just, oh my God.
Nope, love
I
that though.
think
I'm
there's a
down.
place for all.
Yeah.
But I think there's a place for all. Yeah, I mean, the yellow people are probably the ones that come and remind us that we need that value. Have you seen that? I shared it actually not long ago on my Instagram. And basically, there's a little boy and he comes to his mum and he says, Mum, how much is my life worth? And she says, I'll tell you what, here's a stone, here's a crystal or whatever it was. She said, when you find out what the value of this is, then I'll answer your question. So he goes out and he asks different people. And he said, oh, how much do you think this is worth? And someone say, oh, it's not worth it, but it's worth probably a banana. I'd give you a banana for it. And then different people give him different answers. And then he goes to this one place and it's a jeweler. And he's like, this piece is priceless. And it was like, I feel emotional even just telling the story because it was just like, different people will, and what you've just said there, to someone they're a green person, but to you the orange, and that's the whole find your tribe, isn't it? Definitely think they've got a place,
No, definitely.
but there is people that really know your value, and there's people that question your value, and there's people that don't see your value, and I'm imagining that's what you mean by those yellow people is they make you feel like shit. They
Mhm,
don't see your value, and it's definitely something there that we can learn by. But if they're making you feel like shit, then it's okay to release them, I guess.
mhm.
Tony does, she's got, we do colour monsters and teaching too, so it's all a feeling. Yeah,
Ah, right, okay. Yeah,
that's
that's
cute.
maybe where it's from. Yeah,
Yeah.
love that.
And then Tony's said them exact words, love that. Um, but so you've got your yes and no
Mm.
tasks you can do, you've got your colour people task you can do. And then there's also what we talked about was the perfect day, which is also a good exercise to do where you're asking those questions to find out, right, well, actually, I don't want to be waking up with my alarm 7 o'clock every morning because what we're being told to do, you go to school to get into a job. Some
Mhm,
people want to do that, and that's amazing. If you found a job that you love and you come home, you go out every weekend and you're happy with that's, I think, amazing. But a lot of people aren't happy with that, are they? Um, but then they probably never sat and thought, well, actually, what would I like to be doing? If I was to wake up in the morning, how would I like to feel? Where would I want to be? Who would I want to be with? What would I want to have? What would I want to be doing? It's like all those what, when, why, where questions that's worth sitting and asking yourself, what do you want? Because when you know what you want, that's half the battle. And that's also like saying, well, what do I not want? And because of that, I filter through, right, what do I want? Do I want to feel content in my body? Do I want to feel peace? Do I want to have more joy in my life? And different people value different things, don't they?
mhm.
Like David values, like he's more security. Um, there's another word that I've described for him before, but like that family security. Whereas to me, I value freedom over security. I want security,
Mhm.
but I feel like I'm not living when I'm too secure. I feel too stuck.
Right.
And I want adventure and I want freedom. But David wants security and he's more cautious. And we'll definitely ground and balance each other. But that's another thing with different people want different things. Um, got a lot of Sarah, got a lot of questions to ask yourself. Oh God. But is there anything else that, anyone got any more questions? And obviously you've said Ross does a retreat as well in his own home at the minute. So if anybody's interested in doing a retreat, I had put you in as the co-host of the event. But I'll tag your name in again afterwards. So if anybody wants to reach out to Ross about his retreat or for his business support that I know we didn't talk much about
That's
in
okay.
this,
Yeah.
but it was more to share your story, wasn't it? And just to kind of see how we could help people. But if anybody's got any questions, they can just kind of message you anyway and just see if they're lying and go, he's exactly what this is me window of opportunity.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Then you can message Ross.
of course.
Um, Attachment, we did talk about that, didn't we? I said I was going to share a video in the group about attachment. I'm just writing it down so I don't forget. And I do think as well, when you get to this, well, you do. You said when you were heading 40, that's when you started going, shit, what's my life come to?
Yeah.
Like I've turned 40 in December, and I feel like since the COVID thing, that's exactly what I feel like I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I always used to say, oh, I'm not spiritual enough. I've got spiritual blocks, me. I've got spiritual blocks. And I don't know if it was you who said, why? Why are you saying that you've got spiritual blocks? Like, why would you say that? Like, you need to go, actually, no, I'm ready now. I'm
Yeah.
ready. I'm open to
Yeah.
aligning and finding my purpose and just bloody going with the flow.
The word that always rings to me is surrender,
Hmm.
right? Surrender to the moment,
Yeah,
surrender to because I live fully in service and also about trusting the process.
yeah.
Like the thing is, like I was in a 2.4 was never going to be me,
Hmm.
like that wasn't going to be my path of truth. But it's like surrendering to knowing that you're on your path of truth, and that people are going through some horrendous stuff. I've been through some, but you come out the other end, you know,
Hmm.
and knowing that it's the tapestry of life. And it's not, when we talk about high vibration, then we'll say low vibration, right? And we'll have that all, it's simultaneous. It's happening at the same time. But what happens is it's where we've got what area of focus, whether we're focused on a high vibration or what we perceive to be a high vibration, or we're focused on a low vibration, what we perceive to be a low vibration. So that could be, if you're going through a moment of trauma or, prolonged pain or
Hmm.
loved ones losses and all of those things. It's like, oh, it's a low, right? Because that's where you're feeling, right? But you get to, and this is what you get to do, is to realize that it's the click of a finger. As quick as you can, as quick as um things perceived to be horrendous can happen in a moment of an accident or boom, and it's a life changing.
Hmm.
That same click of a fingers can change your life for the good. It's like it's as simple as that. It's equal measure.
Hmm. And I suppose it's worth mentioning about the forgiveness element as well. As by forgiving someone doesn't mean that you're saying it's okay what they've
No,
done. You're
no,
just forgiving and saying, it's happened, I can't change it, I've accepted it, and now I'm letting it go.
yeah,
I would say. But
yeah.
some people go, well, how can you forget? How can you forgive? It's forgiveness is setting you free, not the person
That's right.
necessarily. Hmm.
That's right. Because ultimately, then the energy is trapped within you. The trauma is trapped within you. If you don't
Yeah.
release that and forgive it to let it go,
Hmm.
right? It's trapped. It's trapped. And I know that because my 70-year-old dad is, bless him, he can't
Yeah.
go to the black box because it's too painful. And
Hmm.
I'll say to him, like, me, he's a beautiful soul. I mean, I love my parents and all the rest of it, but bless him. carrying that weight at 70. I looked at that, and that was another thing of saying, like, I'm not getting to 70 and carrying on. Like, I want to be free,
Yeah.
you know? So, and having that conscious conversation with me dad and explaining that to him,
Mhm.
a hero, and being able to say all of the things that I've shared with you today, I've shared with him. And we've
Mhm.
talked about his family and all that, and it's like, but it's me being true to me. And then
Yeah.
my dad fully, he doesn't have to totally, embrace it and agree, but he accepts that I'm on my path and he wants the best for me. And that's what we'll get to do.
Yeah. And healing isn't pretty either, is
Mm,
it? People think, oh, I want to start healing now. And that's why probably most people actually don't want to do it.
yeah,
But nothing like good comes easy. And I've got on my board as well here, the pain of regret will always outweigh the pain of discipline as well. So if you refuse to do that healing work now and go through that pain now, the pain of regret of not doing it when you could have probably done it and missing out on all those opportunities, kept yourself in that limited little space, limited boundaries, it's going to be more painful in the future because you didn't do what you could have done by going through that pain. And
yeah,
it's like you don't go to the gym and just get muscles by looking. You get by
yeah.
working and tear. You've got to tear those muscles. Those muscles got to rebuild. So you've got to like go through the pain to gain, innit? No
Mhm.
pain, no gain. Exactly. So if I'm apparently that antithesis, I can't even say that, of evil, damn colours. Oh, bless her. So, but anyway, we've been on for an hour and a half, which I think it's been a nice time.
Yes,
Thank you so much for coming on.
thank you.
And of course, like I said before, I'll share your profile on here. If anybody wants to message Ross, they can do. I'm sure it'll not be the last time you'll see Ross anyway.
Oh,
Feel free to share your little things in here if
oh,
you
thank
in the
you.
group. But this group as well, like if anybody's watching now, feel free to invite people, get people in, because I just think if we can get this nice little community and I'll get other people on so they can like share their stories.
Mm,
Um, and then like you said, like by telling your story, someone could take a lot from that.
yeah.
Um, Sarah's put jokes, colour judgment aside. Thank you for tonight, guys.
Oh, thank you for
Oh,
listening. It's an
thank you.
absolute pleasure, honestly, and like, yeah, being, listening to what and being interested in what I've got to say
Mhm.
is it's heartwarming. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thank you. So I'm going to end the live first, and then we'll say a quick goodbye. So I hope you're all going to bed now to meditate for 10 minutes.
Yes, I will. Straight, yeah.
There's a one of me on the wall I shared earlier. I'm going to do it as well before bed. So let me just go into here and I'm going to end this. So bye, everybody. I know.
Bye.